Well, delighted to say our next guest here in Riyadh on our press conferences on the first day of press conferences ahead of the Saudi Cup weekend. We're delighted to say that joining us from County Tipperary at the famous Ballydall Stables is AIDEN O'Brien. AIDEN, many thanks for taking the time out to join us today. I'm sure you're very much looking forward to heading out here at the weekend with two big chances.
Yeah, thanks, Martin. Yeah, looking forward to it, absolutely. We know the racing is competitive, but the horses are well, and they seem to travel out well, and looking forward to it, really.
And how closely, AIDEN, have you paid attention to what's been happening out here? The Saudi racing scene's really exploded over the last few seasons, and that's reflected, I guess, with the quality of horses you're bringing across here.
Yeah, no, I think it's really exciting what's going to happen. I think it's where everybody's going to want to be very shortly. In all the race fixtures. I think the whole world is excited about it, really. The big races are there, and the big horses are going to come from all over the world and on a probably more regular basis, I would say.
And from a trainer's perspective, AIDEN, how much do you enjoy that international competition? We saw you out in Hong Kong in December, enjoying the action there. We've seen you out in Dubai and the Breeders' Cup as well. It's the international challenge has become ever real dominant in the last 10 or 15 years, more so than I guess when you first started training.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the future. Everybody wants to compete against the best horses all over the world, and it's the big races that bring them all together. And when those races are there and the horses are there, everyone wants to be there. So I think it's very exciting, and it's changed the program really. Before the season used to end, but now it doesn't. It carries on and starts early, and I think it's massive for owners, trainers, breeders, fans, everybody, I think, all over the world.
And AIDEN, you brought across Luxembourg and Tower of London. You're not going to be here until later in the week, but Pat Keating, as always, is on hand for you. What's been the reports from Pat as to how the horses have travelled and settled in here in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, very well. He had a couple of easy days. He did a canter at the track this morning, and he was lovely. Track was lovely. Facilities are great. No, we're looking forward to him. I was kind of surprised the way he got over the track. The track looked absolutely beautiful, really. I think everyone's very excited about the weekend, really.
And Luxembourg's a horse, if we go back to his 2-year-old days, has always been held in high regard, and from that Group 1 win as a 2-year-old's always shown a very high level of form as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's obviously Group 1 winner at 2, 3, 4. Yeah, he's a big, powerful, long striding horse, big scopy horse with a good mind, very sound. And we think we haven't seen the best of him yet. So we're hoping from now on, all through this year and next year, he's going to be a really horse to really look forward to.
And do you feel at the back end of that 4-year-old campaign last year, we're just getting to see a glimpse of what he's capable of? Is at Leopardstown, and again what he managed to do, finishing a very close second out in Hong Kong?
Yeah, I think so. He's big, and he's big, long stride, and he's scopy, and often those type of horses, it takes them kind of until they're 3, 4, 5 to really become strong enough to use those strides, and he has that big, long stride. He's very scopy. He's very relaxed, and he had a lean enough body, but his body is getting stronger all the time. So we really think that 4 and 5 will be his best years.
And is that typical of what you see with Camelots, that they do seem to improve with age?
Yeah, they're middle distance horses. They're kind of second half of the season 2-year-olds, classic type horses at 3, that 1.25 miles, 1.5 miles, and like obviously he won a Guineas himself, but he is a typical Camelot. Good movement, sound, cover ground, and stay well, and have a little kink, which makes them good, really.
And this horse is going the Neom Turf Cup. He was in the likely fields initially for the Saudi Cup. Can you give us an insight into AIDEN as to your mindset and the thinking about choosing between trying him on dirt for the first time or keeping him on the turf as you have done?
Yeah, we were thinking very strong about it, and we had asked, could we switch, and we were in two minds about it. It's Saudi Cup is on the dirt, we think it's probably the most exciting race in the world, and we were going to go there and take the chance. And then this last minute we decided maybe it was the wrong thing for the horse this early in the season when he hadn't ran on the dirt. But it like I say, it's probably the most exciting race in the world, really. It's the race everyone wants to win, and we nearly did it. So maybe we thought it might be safer to go the other way, and maybe as the season goes on, we could go back up, and hopefully we could be there next year with him. But we just felt it definitely wasn't the wrong thing to stay on the grass, because we knew what way he would react, and it was his first run of the season, but like we were wanting to do it, but thought maybe be a little bit cautious might be the right thing. But hopefully maybe next year we could end up in the Saudi Cup on the dirt with him.
And is that, Aidan, reflective of the dirt surface here in Riyadh that's always had a good reputation, especially for turf horses coming onto dirt? We saw that with Mishrif as well, that you'd be more inclined to maybe try a turf horse on the dirt here in Riyadh as opposed to maybe elsewhere with more kickback.
Yeah, I think everyone is very of the opinion probably the best dirt surface in the world is there in Riyadh. It's the safest, it's the closest to the cross. It's not polytrack, but it is genuine dirt. But it is very safe. A grass horse can get away with it, but it is demanding like a dirt race as well. So I think everyone there in Saudi has got the mixture right for the surface. So when we saw Luxembourg cantering over the surface this morning, we were kind of saying maybe we should have been on the dirt and have taken the chance. But like I said, maybe next year. But I think your surface is very good. I think it brings grass and dirt horses together, and both dirt people and grass people feel like they can get a good shot on it. So that's what brings the big horses, and obviously that's why the race is as good as it is. All the best horses are there.
And Luxembourg aside, Aidan, it sounds though you have the appetite to come back at some stage with a live contender in the Saudi Cup.
Oh yeah, hopefully, exactly. We only look forward to it. Like I said, we were nearly this year, but listen, we think that the grass race will suit Luxembourg well, but like it would be the dream to have a horse good enough to win it, or to be able to compete at least anyway, and then go from there really.
And beyond this weekend, Aidan, what sort of a campaign might you have in mind for Luxembourg? Will you keep him to the turf for the rest of this year, or is the dirt something you're still thinking about experimenting with?
Yeah, I think we will experiment, and maybe we should have done it this time, but we definitely will. And he could go on to the dirt sometime after now. He could go to Dubai. Obviously, Augustus Rodin is going there, but it's very possible that Luxembourg could go to Dubai as well after this, and probably be on the grass as well. And we might stay on the grass for the first half of the year, and then we might think about switching over for the second half of the year or something like that. But we'll just see what way it falls, really, I suppose.
Okay, and a word on Tower of London as well. How ready is he for his first step back? We've not seen him since September of last year.
Yeah, he's been off a good while. He's carrying a little bit of weight, but he's working very well. We always thought the trip would suit him well. This type of race would suit him well. I know he has plenty of weight, but he's a classy horse, and we think being ridden a little bit patiently and gently that we'll see a very big run from him. We're very happy with his work, and like I say, his work has been very good, really.
And as you touch on with the trip as well, it was a particularly good run in the Bahrain Trophy last summer. He was on a real progressive streak, and maybe a little bit lucky not to win at Newmarket that day.
Yeah, I think Ryan felt that he was unlucky not to win, but listen, that was the way it was. But we think the trip will suit him well, and we think the good ground will suit him well. So we're looking forward to seeing him running, but we'll improve from the run. Like you said, it's a long time since he ran, but his work has been very good.
And he was fourth in the Ledger, but he's related to a Ledger winner. His pedigree certainly would back up that assertion that it's going to be better over the staying trips this year.
Yeah, we think the trip will be fine, but he works like a horse that will have no problem going a mile and a quarter, mile and a half, and usually it takes a classy enough horse to do that, and that's what he's shown us in his work. So we always felt going a trip will suit him, and we think it will, and he's had some very good runs over the trip, but I think the ground and the trip will be very important, both of them, for him.
And of course, your jockey Ryan Moore voted again the world's best last season. A huge asset to the team, Aidan, and I'm sure you'll be fascinated to see how he gets on in the International Jockeys Challenge show on Friday.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Ryan is an unbelievable rider, always has been, and is still getting better. So, yeah, incredible fella. He's very committed, dedicated in every way, thorough professional, and he's very hard on himself when he gets beaten. And that's what makes him as good as he is, really. He only accepts the best from himself all the time, and he pushes that all the way.
Well, Aidan, we've got people watching online and here in the media centre at King Abdulaziz Racecourse. Any questions for Aidan? Tom?
Looking at the pedigree, is that something that made you query how well the Luxembourg would potentially handle the dirt? And now you've seen it in the eye, physically, you seem a bit more convinced. Was it a pedigree thing that, now you've gone back to turf, you feel a bit more confident going back to turf? Pedigree play into that decision?
Yeah, I suppose he obviously is by Camelot, and it hasn't been done much before, but that doesn't mean it can't happen, like just because things haven't been done. Listen, Rachel rides him work all the time, and she was very convinced that he would be okay on the surface. Ryan was very up for it as well, and he was kind of convinced that it could happen as well. So we were just trying to do the right thing by the horse, and like we felt to do one thing could be the wrong thing, where to do the other definitely wouldn't have been. But like obviously sometimes if you don't push it out there and explore things, like special things don't happen, and we were probably a little bit cautious this time. Was like I said, when I saw him cantering on the dirt this morning, I was a little bit disappointed. Maybe we should have stayed in the Saudi Cup and see what would have happened. But like obviously a lot of those pedigrees suggest that they're not dirt horses, but I think a lot of the reason is because when people see pedigrees and that kind of stuff, they don't try them, and until you try them, you don't really know. And the reality of it is, you need, in those good dirt races, you need a horse with a high cruising pace, big long stride that covers the ground, and then they have to stay and tough it out at the end. So pedigree, like obviously it hasn't been done or tried a lot. Maybe we should have had, but maybe sometime we will. Yeah, I suppose pedigree wasn't a thing to push us forward, but that doesn't say it couldn't happen.
And Aidan, you touched on Auguste Rodin. He, I think, is bound for the Shima Classic. Is he out in Dubai?
Yes, exactly. That's the plan for him. And we were thinking of going to maybe back to the Tattersall Gold Cup and then looking at Ascot for the Prince of Wales. And then we could even have a look at seeing racing him on the dirt after that. So it's very possible with those type of horses we will kind of push the boundaries out a little bit and explore a little bit and see what does happen with them.
And am I right in saying he had a little bit of work out at Dundalk last week?
He was, yeah, he was in Dundalk. He was in Dundalk on Friday. He went a mile and a quarter with 3 other horses and went very well. So he came back then, he'll start to run into Dubai. So that's the plan.
Good stuff. Well, I think we're done with the questions here, Aidan. Everyone's really appreciative of your time. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you here on Saturday, and the best of luck with both with Luxembourg and Tower of London, Aidan. Many thanks.
Pleasure, Martin. Thanks, everybody.